just reflecting a bit more on the article that I went over yesterday, in which some guy who's in med school right now, but who said in the article that he published in Newsweek magazine online, because I think Newsweek only exists online anymore. But who said basically, I was right there with the the medical and political establishment in all of the enforcement of the various things that went on starting in March 2020. But now I realize that we were wrong about just about everything. He goes on to say the myriad ways in which they were wrong, and the terrible things that they did, and how they were wrong to to shut down all debate and to call anybody who had a dissenting opinion an agent of misinformation, and to go go off on such people, and and try to ruin them, and remove them from the internet, and brand them as agents of misinformation and fake news and charlatans and frauds, and so forth, as if they were the only font of information, and as if anything that doesn't come from that doesn't get the seal of approval from this cadre of handpicked scientists and doctors and political figure, I don't know, high-placed political figures, oligarchs, and so forth. What would we call someone like Bill Gates? He wasn't elected. He's not a doctor. He is incredibly wealthy. Oligarch, I think, comes to mind. So somehow they treated anybody who didn't get the Fauci-Gates seal of approval as if they were reprobates, and that was wrong, and blah, 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 and he went on and on. And if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch my video from yesterday where I talk about this. And I was, as I was reading the article, in the video, I had read it prior to the recording the video that I did. But as I was reading the article, I was just getting angrier and angrier. And part of me was saying, well, why are you so angry? It's, he's saying, he's agreeing with you. You should be saying better late than never, but glad to have you on board, Mr. Newsweek writer, medical student, whoever the hell you are. And it was somehow just the feeling that I had that this article had been strategically placed for a strategic reason, and that it was supposed to mollify the likes of me. That was the impression I was getting from it, because this establishment has shown absolutely no inclination to be anything but harshly judgmental and censorious of any dissent. Now suddenly they're saying, okay, yeah, we were wrong about everything. What a travesty, it was that this and this happened, and it's really bad. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. And it's totally different from the approach that article in the Atlantic from a few months prior, where they said, let's have a pandemic amnesty. Where it was basically saying, yeah, we were wrong about a lot of things, but we didn't really know any better. We did the best we could under the circumstances, which was, of course, that kicked off this huge backlash. Now they're it seems like they're trying the tack of saying, yeah, you're right. We were wrong. And it's sort of it just reads as insincere, because it's why, how I would like to know how this guy, this particular writer, had this come to Jesus moment. When did he realize when did he what's his story, the story of his conversion to going from a true believer to saying that everything he believed in with regard to this whole campaign, this whole psyop that he was a part of, or that he was at least going along with, that he was cheering for and rooting for, and right there with for so long. Suddenly now, no, it was wrong in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. And he even says something like, we should have known it at the time. Differently, that's something very different than the Atlantic article was saying. The Atlantic article was saying, we knew better, we didn't know any better. And, I was just thinking as I read both of these articles, well, I'm just some schlub. I'm not claiming any great, to be any great fount of knowledge myself, but I sure as hell knew better. And I'm not the only one. I knew this was a scam. I saw through what was happening. I knew what they were doing. I knew what they were up to. I didn't know totally why. I don't know. I still don't know. What's behind it all, or what was behind it all. We have my suspicions, but I don't know. But anyway, like what motivated this sudden reversal that he has had? It's just not stated in the article. And furthermore, like, okay, it's nice that somebody who represents these people is actually saying these kinds of things, but meanwhile, Fauci is going out on charging $100,000 to speak at places now. He's gone through the revolving door. He's not hurting at all. He's not being called to task for anything. Of course, he's 81 years old. He's not going to be around much longer, and after he's gone, one suspects that he'll get some recompense for what's happened, for what the various things that he's done, the harm that he's done to innumerable people throughout his medical career, from the 80s as the AIDS czar, and all of the really poor decisions that he made during that time, up through now. But anyway, that's a different question. His the eternal reward that we all have to look forward to, or to fear. That's a different question from what's happening now in this life, in this world. And in this life, things are much harder than the afterworld, because in this life, you're on your own. Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. So what am I saying here? I guess that in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, there has been, for me, and again, I've lived for more than half a century, so I have a certain amount of experience to draw upon. It's my subjective, take on, life, living in society, seeing the way things are in society. I've been aware that we live in a very divided society, for a very, very long time. But up until 2015 or so, generally speaking, there was, even though there were two Americas, as they always call it, the red state and the blue state, or whatever way you want to talk about these differences between the people who have fairly traditionalist notions, and those who are on the liberal left. You know, up through 2015, it was sort of like, with the exception of around elections, you know, a couple of months before the election, but not before the midterms. The midterms were just okay. They're just the midterms. Who cares? But during the presidential elections, then, you know, for a couple of months, things always got overheated. Things always got out of control. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of vitriol pouring forth everywhere, and it was just awful. And you just wanted to shut it all off. But then after the election was over, you know, people moved on, and, you know, we got along. It was sort of like we don't have to agree on everything, but we can still we can agree to disagree, and you can go your way and we can go our way, and you can live your life according to the values that you have, and I could do the same with mine. That was, you know, things were generally much more mellow until around 2015 or so. And for the last, I guess it would be 8 years now, if we're going to say 2015 was the time of the change, when this change happened. It's been the very opposite of that, right? It's been like every day is election day. Every day the news is full of vitriol and hatred, and it's like the people the people of the ruling class, who have assumed the banner of what, you know, it's called the cathedral ruling class ideology, is you know, the corporatization of ideologies like feminism or you know, racial politics, you know, identity politics, you know, the corporatization of you know, Black Lives Matter and groups like that, and this like this embrace by all the power centers of these kinds of ideologies that are deeply divisive, you know, especially when they start pushing things like, you know, like drag queen hour for children, and other sorts of stuff, you know, connected with all the LGBT stuff. You don't have to be, you can be LGBT, or you can be homosexual or whatever, bisexual, and not and still think that drag queens reading to little kids is you know, not a good idea. Everybody would have thought that in 2010, but somehow 2017, 2018, it became like this cause celeb. Oh, well, you know, we're really going to stick it to middle America. We're going to stick it to all the people who voted differently than the way we wanted them to vote, because we hate them and they're terrible people, and we're just going to keep sticking it to them every day. And, you know, the hatred and the anger of the ruling class towards half of the country, roughly speaking. Okay. Roughly speaking, around half of the country are more conservative, and there is no, you know, we disagree, but we're all Americans and we can work together, and we can tolerate each other. That has not been the vibe for the last 7 or 8 years, and especially not for the last 2 or 3 years. Okay. Since 2020, since March of 2020, it all got ratcheted up even more, right? It was intolerably bad before that. You know, I stopped watching the news. I stopped listening to talk radio. Just when when it became clear that this was just unrelenting, and there was no respite. There was no whimsicality. There was no humor. There was no, not from mainstream sources anyway. They were all just screaming and yelling. And it was, every day was the end of the world. And, if you vote differently than we do, if you worship differently than we do, if you don't buy into the notions that we do about this, that, or the other thing, then we're going to make your life a living hell. We're not going to tolerate your intolerance for the way we see things. Which they phrase as, we're not tolerant of intolerance. But of course, that's always, that's definitely an ironic, considering that they are the most intolerant people by far, the people that I'm speaking of here. So you just get so used to, everybody who's powerful and influential, all the corporations, everybody with a bullhorn, with a bully pulpit, they're all hating on you all day, every day. And suddenly this article comes out in Newsweek where they say, it was wrong that it's wrong that we've been doing this. We need to be uniters, not dividers. We need to listen to people of all different perspectives and see that there's value in where people are what people have to say, no matter if they come from a point of view that's different from ours, and all the things that this guy was saying in this article. It goes so against. It goes so against everything from the March 2020 campaign, of course, the virus op and the Baj op, but it also, in a larger way, goes against everything that's been going on in America and in the West generally, but I think particularly in America from 2015 onward. Just this ratcheting up of everything, and like there being no virtue in trying to be a peacemaker. There being no virtue in trying to say, okay, there's good people on both sides. We can work this out. We can agree to disagree. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, you're bad. You who voted for Orange Man are bad. You who aren't sympathetic to our agenda are bad, and we're going to keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And of course, how do you respond if they're coming at you and coming at you and coming at you all the time? Well, you respond in a not friendly way. You respond in a way that's not you respond in the way that anybody would respond when they're attacked all the time. You fight back because of course, what's the alternative? Just to lay down and die, basically. So what is up with this now? That's the whole context. I realize that I've gone far afield here, but that's the whole context behind my response to that article yesterday. I just wonder what's up, what's really going on. In a way, are they sending out feelers? It's too good to be true, probably. But I'm not going to say I almost said I would kill for it. I wouldn't kill for it, but I would almost kill just for for 2004 vibes. Right, 2006 vibes, 2008 vibes, even, where it's not just we're in your face all the time and we hate you and you're terrible and so forth. And this article was like, wow, this is somebody who's actually not calling me a terrible, awful, mean, bad person. But what's happening here? Why is he saying this? And he says he was in support of all this stuff that was attacking me and calling me a terrible, bad, awful person just a very short time ago. What's behind this sudden change of heart? And what is it? This isn't just one guy. It's not just one guy. If it's like being put out in a major mainstream media publication, obviously they're trying to. Is it the same thing that's like going on with Elon Musk? Is it the same thing where it's like, look, here's an oligarch who's not down on you, who doesn't hate you, who doesn't think you need to die out, who doesn't think that you're just a waste of space or that you're deplorable. Is it the same kind of stuff going on there? Anyway, I'll bring this to a close, but those are my open questions. I welcome anybody's response. Thanks for watching.